Senate Republicans mounted a partisan filibuster against a very straightforward piece of legislation to help provide equal pay to women. It's shocking that my Republican colleagues believe that the Senate has no role to play in defending the rights of women.
The Democratic leader has laid out a partisan agenda he seems to hope will illustrate that the Senate is somehow broken. Unsurprisingly, that gamut not only failed to pass, it failed to even unite a majority of the Senate. Apparently, when your agenda is designed to fail, regular order is just a waste of time.
A war of words on the Senate floor yesterday. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell slamming Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's radical legislative agenda, claiming it was designed to fail in order to convince other Democrats it's time to end the filibuster. Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell joins us now. Senator, it seems like Schumer is mad at you for the agenda stalling out.
Well, you know, I have to start with last year's election, Dana. There's a 50-50 Senate, and the Democrats have a handful of seats as a majority in the House. The American people didn't vote for this radical left-wing agenda. So why would we decide to pass that in a 50-50 Senate? We've done 6 major bills so far this year on a bipartisan basis, working together in committees. And now the Majority Leader has shifted to check the box month by rolling out all of these radical left-wing proposals that have no support on my side. So obviously they're not going to pass.
AOC apparently is upset with you also. A few tweets. Here's one of them about patty cake. President Biden and Senate Dems should take a step back and ask themselves if playing patty cake with GOP senators, that being you, is really worth the dismantling of people's voting rights, setting the planet on fire, allowing massive corporations and the wealthy to not pay their fair share of taxes, etc. I'm sure you heard about it. Your reaction?
Well, to satisfy that particular member of Congress, I think the Democrats would have to have 60 votes in the Senate, and all of them would have to be as far left as she is. I think her big complaint is with her own party.
Here's more. During the Obama administration, she tweets, folks thought we'd have a 60 Dem majority for a while. It lasted 4 months. Dems are burning precious time and impact negotiating with GOP, who won't even vote for a January 6th commission. McConnell's plan is to run out the clock. It's a hustle. We need to move now. Based on that answer there, do you believe this argument over the filibuster is now dead and that it will survive?
Well, I think a significant number of Democrats have indicated we're not going to change the rules of the Senate in order to advance a radical left-wing agenda that the American people didn't vote for. So when you have a 50-50 Senate, I think you need to look for things you can agree on. And as I indicated earlier, we had 6 major bills so far this year passed on a bipartisan basis where we worked together and we met in the middle. The agenda of the particular member of Congress you're referring to is not in the middle. I don't think she can sell her agenda to their own party, much less find it any kind of appeal for that on my side.
It would sure be different for everyone if it was not 50-50 Senate, but a 51-50 Senate. The Democrats are not just mad at you, they are mad at one of their own, Senator Joe Manchin from West Virginia. He has said that he is not going to vote to kill the filibuster. He won't support their voting bill. They're furious with him. I'm curious if you would welcome him into the Republican Party, and have you asked him and extended an invitation for him to consider switching parties?
Well, Senator Manchin has pointed out over and over again, he's been a Democrat all of his life. I'm certainly not anticipating he's going to cross the aisle, but I do admire his willingness to protect the Senate as an institution. The filibuster is not so much about a particular issue as it is about the Senate as an institution. It was constructed in the beginning of the country to slow things down, to make sure the right thing was done for the country. And of course, it takes 60 votes, not just 51, to advance an agenda in the Senate. The reason for that is you have to have broad bipartisan support in order to get over the 60-vote threshold. That is the essence of the Senate. And so I admire the Democratic senators who believe the institution of the Senate is important and they're willing to protect it.
Senator, I keep coming back to a comment that the former Speaker John Boehner made to us about 2 weeks ago. He says the best chance the Democrats have of passing anything is to get Republican support. And I don't know if that's going to happen or not. What do you honestly believe that this current makeup in Congress can pass over the next 16 months?
Well, at the risk of continuing to repeat myself, we've passed 6 major bills on a bipartisan basis so far in the first 5 months of this year in the Senate, working together. We're trying to get an outcome on infrastructure, something that is popular on both sides of the aisle. All we're insisting on is that the infrastructure bill be about infrastructure and not a whole lot of other things, and that it be credibly paid for. And we're continuing to engage in discussions, members of mine, with each other across the aisle and with the administration. And we haven't given up hope that we'll be able to reach a deal on something really important for the country that we really need to accomplish, and that is a major infrastructure bill, and it'll have to be done on a bipartisan basis. That particular member of Congress you're referring to would like for it to be sort of a Green New Deal infrastructure package. I don't think that's going to fly in the Senate.
Well, coming from Louisville, Kentucky, you know about odds at Churchill Downs right down the road, but what are the odds that this gets done? You might be optimistic for it, but is it possible?
Yeah, I think it's clearly possible. We haven't given up on reaching an agreement on infrastructure. There is a core group in the Senate consisting of both Democrats and Republicans who continue to work together, and we haven't given up. I think it's an important thing for the country, but it needs to be crafted in such a way that it's actually about infrastructure. We're not willing to go back and reopen the 2017 tax bill, which produced remarkable prosperity up until February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. But there are other ways to credibly pay for a major infrastructure bill, and I think there's a good chance we can get there.
Final question for you. National Journal columnist Josh Kroshar writing about the election to come in 2022, where you will have many of your senators up for grabs, and some of these states are going to be very tough. And his title of his article is "Trump is sabotaging the GOP's Senate prospects. The former president's growing involvement in primaries is jeopardizing Republican chances of winning back the majority." You know what that was like back during the Obama years, when some intra-party infighting really caused a problem in like a Delaware or a Nevada Senate races that you could have won. How do you plan to deal with that this time around?
Well, that was a problem in 2010 and 2012. There's no indication it'll be a problem in 22. I do think the big issue in 22 is not going to be about the past. It's going to be about the future, and that the future is this administration in office now. Look what they're doing to the economy. The inflation hit 5% in today's report. That's the highest since the financial distress back in 2009. So they're doing a lot of damage to the economy. I think what's going on now and what they prescribe for the future is what will be on the ballot in November of 22. If you look at the history of first midterm elections after a new administration, the picture looks pretty good for Senate and House Republicans.
And will you end up with the candidates that you want in 2022?
I do believe we will, yes.
Will you welcome the former president's involvement in the midterm?
Well, he has his own agenda, and my view is we're going to focus on this administration and the future, what they're trying to do to the country, and make it a referendum in the fall of